Hello, Aries. If you're hearing this right now, it's not by accident. Something is calling you not from the world outside, but from somewhere deeper, farther. From the quiet place where your soul once sent out a message, waiting for an answer. Lately, have you felt like someone's been watching over you? A strange current in the air, a dream that keeps repeating, or that unshakable feeling pressing softly against your heart. Don't ignore it. When the soul wants to speak, the universe will find a way to send the signal, no matter how busy you are, no matter how much your mind tries to deny it. Tonight, I want you to do just one thing. Listen. Not with your ears, but with your heart. Because what you're about to hear isn't just a message, it's a calling, a whisper from beyond, a quiet invitation for you to come home. A still afternoon. The sun slowly pulls its last strand of light from the window frame. You stand there, Aries, surrounded by familiar sounds, yet suddenly, you hear the silence between them. Not the quiet of the room, but a thin, misty pause between your breath and your heartbeat. And within that space, something gently touches you. No knock, no noise, just a soft warmth, like a hand resting lightly on your shoulder. You know you didn't arrive here by chance. Something or someone is using the stillness of this hour to whisper your name. This calling doesn't come through your ears. It slips in through memory, through images that never had a name. An old scarf you find tucked away, the scent of the wooden table from your childhood, a song that somehow plays the very line you once promised never to forget. Each moment is a delicate thread, weaving itself through the past and the present, and on the other end of that fabric someone waits. A soul, perhaps, or maybe just the deepest part of you still longing to be heard. You've walked a long road guided by reason. You've learned to plan, to stay strong when the wind rises. But lately, on those nameless hours before dawn, you wake, listening to the breath of the house, wondering why your chest feels heavier than usual. It's not fear, it's not sadness you can explain. It's that strange ache like a postcard finally reaching the right hands after years of wandering. And on that card, a message, a truth left unfinished, a promise standing in the rain too long, an embrace that stopped halfway before it could become whole. Aries, you were born to move forward, but sometimes, to take the next step, you must ask permission from the past. The call from the other side isn't here to hold you back. It's here to hand you a key, the one that unlocks the heavy door you've carried on your shoulders for far too long. Maybe you misunderstood a look, lost a chance to say, "I'm sorry," closed a picture frame because you were afraid of feeling weak again. That door doesn't blame you. It's simply waiting for your hand steady and ready to turn. When you begin to listen, the air changes color. Ordinary things take on meaning again. A cracked cup fits perfectly against your favorite finger. An old jacket still carries the scent of the wind from a road you haven't walked in years. Everything leans gently toward you, whispering that what you've been searching for has been searching for you, too. And if you hesitate, if you lower your gaze into the noise of daily life, that door will close as quietly as it opened, leaving behind only a sigh you can't quite name. I'm not asking you to believe in what you can't touch. I'm inviting you to pause for just a few breaths, to place your hand over your heart, and ask one simple question. What inside me is longing to be called by its true name? Don't rush to answer. Let the question rest, like a seed in the soil. The earth will speak to the roots in its own language. The heart will answer in its own time. I don't have to conquer anything, only to be honest with the clear voice that lives within you. And then you'll see the calling isn't frightening. It's gentle, like the sound of paper opening in a quiet room, steadfast like a small lamp waiting for someone to come home. It reminds you that some things only grow in silence. That courage isn't always moving forward. Sometimes, courage is turning back to the place you rushed past to pick up a fragment of dignity, a fragment of tenderness, a fragment of truth. Piece them together, and they become the map for the road ahead. If you're hearing this voice in the middle of a long day, or a night just dark enough to feel honest, let it be a soft shawl over your shoulders, warming you again. You deserve that simple comfort. And as the warmth seeps quietly into your skin, you'll understand why that door has been waiting. Not to make you relive what's gone, but to help you finally walk through it once, and for all. Sometimes, the greatest things don't arrive with thunder. They come quietly like a soft breeze slipping through an old curtain. You look up, and no one's there. Yet, something thin as breath moves through the air, slowing your heartbeat just enough for you to notice. The dream that keeps returning, the sudden feeling that someone's eyes are on you from behind, none of it is coincidence. They're gentle knocks from the unseen world, reminders that what you thought was over is still alive somewhere in the deep chambers of memory. You've told yourself it's just your mind playing tricks. But then, there are mornings when the sunlight feels the same, the room looks the same, and yet something inside you aches for something not of the present. A faint scent drifts by, a familiar song rises in the middle of a crowded street. A voice passes your ear and it sounds too much like someone you once knew. Your heart stirs, like the surface of a lake touched by a falling leaf. That's the moment when the door between two worlds opens for just a breath, and a soul, or maybe the deepest part of you, tries to whisper the words that were never said. Your recurring dreams are not random. They carry fragments of a story left unfinished, a place you once walked, a blurred face, a sentence that stopped halfway. They rise like an underground river pushing toward daylight, asking you to look, to listen, to release what has been trapped too long. Sometimes our souls cannot rest, not because of what others did to us, but because we've never truly forgiven ourselves. Aries, you are a sign of fire, but even fire trembles in the wind. Don't fear those strange sensations. Let them be invitations to return, not to relive the pain, but to see the new light hidden in the old shadows. Each time your heart races at the sound of a name, each time you turn around though no one is there, the universe is asking softly, are you ready? Ready to reclaim the part of your soul you left behind. And when you finally allow it, the miracle begins. The outer world doesn't change overnight, but the inner one does. You'll start to see meaning in what used to feel random. A stranger's smile in the crowd, an old photograph falling from a drawer, a song that plays the moment you turn on the radio. Everything carries a message, as if someone has been quietly arranging the details just to remind you, you were never forgotten. This world, for all its noise, still speaks a secret language, one that only the listening heart can hear. And you, Aries, are learning that language again. The language of intuition, of a small light burning in the deep night, of a warmth that has never gone out. It's the gift of those who have lived, who have lost, who have been strong for too long and are finally learning that it's okay to be tender. Because tenderness, in awakening, is another form of courage. Now, sit for a moment. Let your heart tell the stories your mind can't explain. Each breath you take in is a chance for old memories to dissolve, and each breath you let go is an invitation for something new to arrive. Between those breaths lies the ground of the soul, where what was lost is being found, and what was left unsaid is finally being whispered. And then, when you close your eyes just a little, you'll hear it, a soft rhythm, very near, like someone placing a hand upon your chest and saying, "I'm still here. I never left." That sound, warm and quiet, melts the ice around your heart, shrinks every small fear, and leaves in its place only one thing: gratitude. Sometimes the walls around us aren't made of stone, they're made of someone's eyes. Eyes that see too much, say too little, yet somehow make you feel smaller each time they look your way, make you question the truth of your own feelings. That person might be right beside you in the morning conversations, in the kind advice that sounds so sincere, or in the gentle way they convince you that the past is not worth remembering, But beneath that calm surface lies something more subtle. They don't want you to see the truth. They know that if you ever look straight at it, you'll stop needing them. Because the moment you recognize the real nature of this bond, every bit of power they've held over you will dissolve. So they use a smile, a touch of concern, or sometimes pity, not out of love, but out of fear. They fear the light within you, the very light they once lost in themselves. Aries, right now you're standing between two worlds. One calls you toward truth. The other whispers doubts soft as silk, binding you in invisible threads of hesitation. Do you notice it? Each time you try to speak honestly, the air in the room shifts. Someone changes the subject, or makes you believe you're too sensitive. Every time you're ready to walk away, something pulls you back, a memory, a promise, or simply the comfort of what's familiar. But even comfort can become a cage when it muffles the voice of your own soul. And the most dangerous thing isn't being held back. It's believing you're supposed to be. Aries, the truth never disappears. It waits until you're quiet enough to hear it. And in that stillness, when you stop arguing with your fear, something begins to move. You might feel warmth gathering behind you, like someone's been standing there all along waiting for you to turn around. Not the one trying to keep you small, but a presence from another time, a soul that's been walking beside you, unseen, yet never gone. They don't arrive with sound. They come as a feeling so familiar that your heart trembles, like hearing your name whispered for the first time in years. In that instant, the distance between two worlds disappears. A thin line of light cuts through the mist of time and finds you. This presence brings no darkness, no demand, only truth. And this truth is not an accusation, it's a restoration. They want you to know that the misunderstandings, the pain that once tore two souls apart, were never the end. They were only a pause, a sacred interval in a story your souls promised to complete together. Maybe you once believed someone betrayed you, or that a single cruel word broke something forever. But now, this soul wants you to understand, on the other side of pain, there was love that never had the chance to speak. They haven't come seeking forgiveness. They've come to hand you a key, the key that unlocks the loop of sorrow repeating through your life. Their message is freedom, to see, to understand, and to finally release. Because only when you do, everything hidden begins to fade like morning mist melting in the sun. If you feel your heart soften right now, that's them, standing close. Maybe you hear a breeze slip through the window, or leaves brushing against each other outside. Don't call it imagination. It's the language of souls, how they speak when words no longer work. A single gust of wind can carry 1,000 unsaid sentences, and when you recognize that presence, fear disappears. What was hidden in the dark begins to shine. The one who once kept you small becomes only a shadow dissolving in the light you've lit for yourself. And the soul from beyond, they simply smile because at last you've heard them. Not with your ears, but with your heart. Not to go back, but to move forward clear, peaceful, and freer than you have ever been. Sometimes, what remains after a relationship isn't memory. It's energy that hasn't yet dissolved. It lingers in dreams, in the silence between two breaths, in the way your head turns instinctively when you hear a familiar name. You thought you'd closed that chapter, but deep within, a part of your soul is still standing at that same doorway waiting for an explanation, an unfinished embrace, or simply a look that says, "I understand." That soul, the one who once walked through your life, never truly left. They no longer exist in the shape you remember, but their energy still moves around you, gentle as the warmth that remains after a candle goes out. They haven't come to frighten you or to reopen old wounds. They've come because in the realm of light, every truth left unspoken becomes a small crack in eternity. And they know only when you understand can both of you be free. They whisper what you once overlooked, that some misunderstandings are no one's fault, yet powerful enough to steer two lives off course. Maybe they loved you more than you ever realized. Maybe the last words you carried for years were never the truth. Maybe, in those final silences, they wanted to reach for you, but time closed the door too quickly. Now, from the other side of existence, they send you a signal like the final drop falling into a still pond, rippling outward into awareness. You feel it in clear, vivid dreams, in that quiet sense that someone sits beside you when you're alone. Their soul is telling you no separation is eternal when love was never fully spoken. They don't come to relive the past, but to complete it. They want you to see that every pain that ever happened was part of something larger, a journey where two souls were learning how to forgive, how to see each other through light, not through wounds. Aries, real love never dies, it only changes form. When you sit still, not trying to forget, not trying to remember, you'll feel a soft warmth moving through you. That's them placing a hand over your heart. They don't speak with words, but you can hear them through the calm spreading in your chest. That peace is the apology without language, the gratitude without words, the final farewell of a soul who has fulfilled its purpose. And as you exhale, as your tears begin to dry, you'll realize you've been given something precious: relief. No more resentment, no more questions hanging between worlds. Only love remains pure, quiet, forgiving, like the first light of morning touching your face. What they leave behind isn't memory, it's a key. A key not to open the past, but to open the door to your future. It allows you to step out of the loops, the repeating fears, the familiar patterns that kept you circling the same pain. When you use it, everything old begins to dissolve like mist fading under the rising sun. And when that light reaches you, you finally understand forgiveness isn't just an act of kindness. It's an act of awakening. It's what happens when you no longer need to prove who was right or wrong. You simply want peace, and you let every soul return to where it belongs. From somewhere far away, they smile. You can't see them, but you know. Because in that moment, something soft, something real, lifts off your fast shoulders. A chapter closes not with a slammed door, but with a peaceful breath. And in that same breath, another door opens, leading you into a new space, where truth no longer hurts, but shines, guiding you gently into the next part of your journey. One ordinary morning. Sunlight slips through the window, landing across the same table where you sit each day. But today, the light feels different. It tilts at an unfamiliar angle, shining directly on something small you've never noticed before. An old card, a forgotten gift in a drawer, or maybe just a thin crack in the wall. The world hasn't changed, and yet something in the air has. A faint shift, like an invisible hand gently pointing you toward what you once refused to see. Aries, some gifts aren't wrapped in paper, they're wrapped in time. Some opportunities don't arrive through luck, they appear the moment you dare to open your heart and recognize what's been there all along. The soul that has been sending you messages from the light wants you to know. They left something real for you, a door, physical or spiritual, one you closed too soon out of fear or doubt. Sometimes we don't lose because we lack fortune, we lose because we forget how to believe we're worthy. Think about what you once let go of: an unfinished dream, a chance you walked away from, a relationship that once carried the promise of growth. None of it disappeared. It's just been resting, waiting for you to return with clearer eyes. Like a seed buried deep in the soil, it only needs one beam of light, one drop of water to awaken. And through the quiet wind, that soul whispers, "The gift is still there, Aries. It has never left your path." You might call it luck, destiny, or divine timing. But really, it's the energy of faith, faith being restored inside you. When you stop looking at life through the eyes of defense, the universe immediately changes how it looks back at you. The door you thought was closed begins to open, and you realize what you believed was taken was only kept safe until you were ready to cherish it. Maybe someone once blinded you, kept from you what was rightfully yours. A chance, a truth, a sense of self-worth. But the universe forgets no one. What's blocked will always find its way home to the one it belongs to. The moment you stop fearing life, the barriers start to dissolve, like a thin curtain melting in the morning light. And within that light, you finally see yourself not the one who was wounded, but the one who has been reborn. Aries, the material world is only a mirror for the inner one. When your heart believes it's enough, life will never let you go without. When you begin to trust that you are loved, everything shifts. Missed chances return. Rejected invitations circle back. Doors thought to be closed quietly unlock. And in those moments that feel almost random, a message that arrives out of nowhere, a stranger offering an opportunity, a lingering glance from across the crowd, you'll realize the magic has begun again. And maybe then you'll understand. What they wanted to send you was never just fortune, it was faith. Faith that you were never abandoned, that you still have the right to receive, to live, to flourish, to be happy. When you accept that gift with gratitude, the old energy releases itself. There's no more bitterness, no more sense of loss, only wholeness, peaceful and full, like water finally finding its way back to the sea. Let the light do the rest. It will reach into every shadow you thought unreachable. It will guide your hands toward dreams you believed were gone. And as that light unfolds, you'll see no gift is ever truly hidden, only waiting for you to be ready to see it. Because when you begin to look with your heart, the light doesn't just illuminate the road ahead. It opens a new chapter where the past is no longer a burden, but the foundation of something beautiful that's on its way. A quiet movement is beginning now in your breath, in the distant rhythm of music, in the ordinary hum of life around you. If you listen closely, you'll feel everything aligning, as if the universe itself is gently nodding, inviting you to step into the next chapter of a story you began writing long ago. There comes a time in life when we stop seeking justice through apologies and start finding it in the stillness within. You've walked through so many losses, Aries. You've bent when others broke, stayed silent when others shouted, and tried to understand things that were never meant to make sense. And now, the universe begins to move not with thunder, but with the slow, steady rhythm of balance returning. Everything that once felt chaotic is quietly falling back into place. What belongs to you will find its way home. What no longer does will fade like smoke in the morning wind. You may not see it yet, but every time you chose patience over revenge, every time you stayed kind when others chose deceit, the scales of the universe tilted in your favor. Truth never needs a defender, it breathes on its own. The universe doesn't ask you to punish anyone, it only asks that you stand firm in your light. And when your light steadies, darkness has no choice but to retreat. Those who once used you, who hid behind your kindness, are now beginning to reveal themselves. You don't need to expose them. You don't need to argue or prove a thing. Their own choices will echo back to them. That's how the universe restores balance. Its justice is quiet but precise. It doesn't come to destroy, it comes to teach, and no soul escapes its lessons. While all of this unfolds, your only task is to keep your heart pure, to remain as a small lamp in the night, steady, gentle, unwavering. Aries' justice isn't punishment, it's awakening. It helps you see that what once hurt you was really the unseen hand of destiny teaching you how to choose the light. The universe has never been silent to your pain. It simply waits for you to grow strong enough not to confuse anger with fairness. When you choose forgiveness not because they deserve peace, but because you do, that's when the universe begins to move on your behalf. And when it does, you'll feel it. The air itself changes. People who once weighed on your spirit start drifting out of your orbit. They stop showing up in your thoughts, stop haunting your dreams. You don't chase them away, they just dissolve, like smoke that can no longer cling to sunlight. And there you stand lighter, clearer, finally understanding that justice isn't about repayment, it's about freedom. Divine protection gathers around you now, not through dramatic miracles, but through quiet precision. You start meeting the right people, saying the right words, arriving at the right places at the right time. A door closes, and another opens effortlessly. That's the universe's way of whispering, you're on the right path. From this moment forward, the light within you isn't just faith, it's power. It draws kindred souls to you and repels anyone who hides behind pretense. You don't need to prove who you are anymore. Your calm voice, your steady presence, that's your loudest declaration. Trust that everything happening now is serving a greater order. You may not yet see the full picture, but the canvas is filling in. And when it's complete, you'll understand why you had to walk through every storm, not to seek revenge, not to reclaim what was lost, but to receive something deeper, the respect of the universe itself. When you finally release, when you stop gripping the pain so tightly, you'll hear it, the wind moving softly through the window frame. That sound is the breath of a new chapter. No more burdens from the past, no more unspoken words, only a clear, quiet peace where you and the universe face each other, smile, and both understand justice has already been served, and the light was always on your side. Time moves with rhythms we can't always see. Each quiet day passes as though nothing shifts, yet beneath the surface, thousands of invisible threads are weaving destiny back into place. Aries, those threads are moving around you right now. They carry a message, a signal sent from beyond, and it's making its way toward you. In the next 3 to 7 days, something unusual will happen. A dream that feels too real to dismiss. A name you haven't heard in years, spoken out of nowhere. A forgotten object appearing in plain sight. Or maybe just a stranger's glance that feels so familiar it takes your breath away. When it happens, don't try to explain it. Let your heart lead before your mind begins to question. The universe doesn't speak in words, it speaks in symbols, sensations, and coincidences too perfect to ignore. You might be walking down a street when the radio plays that old song that once made you cry. You might be sitting quietly when a faint scent drifts by and memories rush back. Take it as a greeting. They're coming closer, not to stir the past, but to remind you that everything you've lived through had purpose. Don't be afraid when the signs appear. The other side doesn't want you to tremble. It only wants you to remember that connection doesn't end, not even with death. When you whisper, "I'm ready to listen," your frequency changes instantly. A door opens not with sound, but with silence so deep, you can hear the rhythm of your own heartbeat. And in that stillness, the message enters clear, gentle, and exact, like a single drop falling into still water. It may come through someone else, a phrase, a story, a book that falls open to the page you needed. It may arrive in a message from someone you never expected. The universe has its ways of helping you understand without needing to analyze. Your task is not to predict, but to receive. Because when your heart opens, truth will find its way in, just like light slipping through a door someone tried to keep closed. Aries, in this moment, peace is your greatest strength. Don't rush. Don't chase. Don't try to make things happen. Simply be here. Be grateful that you are still present to receive. Know that you've come far enough to deserve what's approaching. The soul sending these signs isn't testing you, it's guiding you. They know you're strong enough now to hear, to understand, and to forgive. Every truth carries both light and shadow. But don't fear the shadow, because without it, light would have no meaning. When you can hold both, you've crossed into spiritual maturity, that sacred moment when courage no longer means fighting, but accepting. If you're hearing this voice in the quiet of the night, close your eyes for a moment. Feel the air around you, the layers of stillness, the whisper of wind, the faint sounds in the distance. Within all of it, there's a gentle warmth touching your back. That's them standing behind you, silent and patient. They've been waiting for your reply, just 3 simple words, "I hear you." And when you say them, something small and extraordinary happens. No thunder, no brilliance, just the soft sense of a hand on your shoulder, so light you can't tell if it's real or dream. But in that instant, you know you're not alone. Let it all unfold. Let the universe do its part. When the sign arrives, don't chase it. Just smile, take a deep breath, and let the new light lead you forward. From that moment on, a different journey begins, quieter, deeper, so real that all you can do is bow your head and whisper a single word of gratitude for everything that's being prepared just for you. One morning feels different. The sunlight that spills across your window isn't sharp like before. It's soft, round, warm, and it seems to move with its own rhythm, the rhythm of something finally released. In that quiet breath, you realize the world hasn't changed, but the way you see it has. Truth no longer frightens you, because now you stand on the other side of fear. You've walked through the long night of the soul, and somewhere in that darkness, the first light was born from within you. The things that once made you tremble are now memories you bless with gratitude. Because without the darkness, how would you ever know how bright you could shine? Now, as you walk with an awakened heart, each step you take becomes a message to the world, a reminder that wounds are not endings. They're doorways to a deeper version of who you are. The soul from the other side has stopped sending signs because they know you've heard. From this moment on, they walk beside you quietly, gently, like a breeze brushing your shoulder. They no longer speak, they illuminate. And you, Aries, are the one chosen to continue the story. Light isn't only meant to help you see, it's meant to help you become light for someone still lost in the dark. From now on, you'll start recognizing other souls, the ones still wandering through grief, confusion, fear. When you see them, don't rush to speak. Just be there, the way the light once was there for you. Not everyone needs answers. Sometimes, they just need a presence warm enough to remind them they can still stand. You're becoming a messenger not through loud declarations, but through the calm that radiates from your being. When others feel at peace simply standing near you, that's your soul doing its work, healing through presence alone. The light you carry isn't something seen with eyes. It's something felt, a sense of safety, of being understood, of being allowed to be soft, to be real. And in that moment, you'll understand. This journey was never about finding someone else. It was about finding yourself again. Every soul comes here with a purpose, and yours, Aries, is to remind the world that no darkness is deep enough to swallow a true light. Because that light doesn't come from the sky, it comes from the courageous heart within you. If you're hearing these words, take a deep breath. Feel each cell of your body expand in peace. Know that you've come farther than you realize, and the universe is smiling softly at you. What you've lost was never truly gone, it simply became the path that led you back to yourself. When truth is revealed, you're not only freed, you become light for others. That light doesn't need to be blinding. It only needs to shine enough to guide one small path, so someone behind you no longer fears walking into the night. And perhaps, one evening, the very light you've shared will find its way back to you as gently as the world once whispered to you tonight. Aries, if your heart stirs even a little, whisper these words: I am ready for truth. I choose light. When you speak them, the air around you shifts, maybe only slightly, like a long-held breath finally released. But to the universe, it's a signal, a quiet declaration that you're ready. Ready to step into the next chapter, one of peace, gratitude, and living truthfully. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Thank you for not turning away midway, because somewhere in these words, you knew there was a message meant for you. May the light stay with you, gentle, honest, and true to the soul you are. And until we meet again, may your path grow softer, your heart lighter, and your faith steady, knowing that every soul, one day, finds its way home.